So a bombshell allegation that rocked the gaming industry coming out today involving Sony and Naughty Dog that, if true, could mean bad news for both groups. In the wake of several actresses coming out and accusing major studio heads in the TV and film industry of sexual assault and even rape, that has sucked basically the air out of the news cycle over the last several days. It appears more people are coming out talking about their run-ins with creeps in different people, different organizations. One of them today being a former environmental artist and multiplayer level designer who worked at Naughty Dog, who claims that he was a victim of sexual harassment while at Naughty Dog. And then once he told PlayStation HR about it, he was fired and then offered hush money to go away. So here are his allegations that he posted up on Twitter today. In late 2015, I was sexually harassed at Naughty Dog by a lead. My work environment became extremely toxic afterwards. In February 2016, I had a mental breakdown at work and Sony PlayStation HR became involved. When I told them about the harassment, they ended the call and fired me the next day. They cited the company was moving in a different direction and my job was no longer needed. They tried to silence me by offering $20,000 if I signed a letter agreeing to the termination as well as to not discuss the matter with anyone. I declined to sign. I have been unemployed for 17 months since. When interviewers ask me why I left Naughty Dog, I say I was burned out by the crunch, ashamed to get to the root of the problem of being sexually harassed. I'm speaking out now because of the strength I've seen in others coming forward from their experiences in the TV film industry. This is the hardest thing I've ever done. I will not let anybody kill my drive or love for the video game industry, my passion, or life. So, those are big allegations, serious allegations, and really big if true. Especially the hush money to bribe him up, to keep him quiet, to go away. And let's face it, it's not like Sony hasn't had their missteps before when it comes to ethics and things sort of like this. I mean, remember just a few months ago whenever they had that big movie breach, there were emails leaked that were talking bad about the president at the time, which was Obama, talking about not wanting to put a black man in a lead role, talking about Denzel Washington because they didn't think that it would sell as many tickets with him as a lead, which I think is crazy because Denzel is like one of the best actors around. But I do want to say this, before we start throwing rocks at Naughty Dog or Sony, throwing them under the bus, talking about how terrible they are, I do think we should give them an opportunity to respond. And I think anybody who's accused of anything has a right to respond. You know, we have the innocent until proven guilty. It doesn't always work out like that. And I've already seen people on NeoGAF, you know, throwing all kinds of things out towards Sony and Naughty Dog's way. Look, if this happened the way that this guy says it did, if it happened exactly the way he lays it out, and this is the way that Sony handled it, yeah, I totally agree. Get on board. We'll throw Sony and Naughty Dog under the bus. We'll call them all sorts of names and talk about how terrible they are. But I do think we should give them the opportunity to respond and either deny or say that they screwed up. And then at that point, move forward. I think if this guy is going to call people out, he should really call them out. You know, if he's got the courage to talk about this on Twitter, I mean, you call out two major companies, name the person. Tell us who the lead was. And also provide any other proof that you have to back up what you're saying. Because again, these are very serious accusations that can totally damage a company or a person if it's leveled at them. And the problem today is that there are real victims out there that aren't believed. And man, my heart goes out to those people because that would be terrible. If you were a true victim and you were sexually harassed or assaulted and you told your story and nobody believed you, I can't imagine how terrible that would be. But the thing is, I read about stories practically every week where people are claiming that they were attacked or assaulted or they received all kinds of hate mail, and then it later turns out that they were either lying or caused the damage to themselves in order to blame somebody else because they just wanted to be the victim. Like, this is the victim mentality. Some people want to be the victim. And I know it's terrible for people who don't want to be the victim, but the truth of the matter is some people do. And there are stories literally almost every week where you can read about it. There was a story not too long ago where a famous YouTuber, he was a homosexual, and he made a thing saying that he was attacked because he was gay. And then it turned out he had to plead guilty to the police for filing a false report because he caused damage to himself. There was one not too long ago, right before the election. I remember a huge story that was posted up all over, like ABC and CNN, all these people running with the story that a southern church, a southern black church, had been burned down and had "Vote Trump" painted on the side of the church. And so that's the story that everybody went with. And then everybody's talking, bad about everything that's going on and blaming KKK and all this. Well, it turns out, and not many people reported it after the fact, but black guy was arrested because he was the one who burnt down the church, and he's the one who painted that up because he wanted to make it look like the blame was to be placed somewhere else. And the problem is that those sort of stories help seed doubt in people who are telling real stories, who are real victims. And that's a shame, but that's also just the truth of the matter. Unfortunately, you can't just take every single person at their word when they level this sort of accusation. So if this guy has proof, I hope he brings it forward. If this really did happen to him, then I hope he finds justice, and I hope he's paid. And I hope Sony and Naughty Dog meet their judgment as well if they handle the case the way that this guy said they did. But also on the flip side, if it turns out where this didn't happen, then I hope justice goes the other way as well. So, I just hope basically that the truth prevails. One thing that I would suggest for you, and I pray that you or your family members are never a victim of sexual harassment or sexual assault. If you are, though, please, for the love of God, don't wait 5, 10 years, 6 months, whatever, to post about it on Twitter. Go file a report. Go to the police, especially if you're assaulted and you could get a rape kit or something to prove, you're saying what you're saying and that justice can be served to the people who actually did this to you. Don't wait to post about it on Twitter. Go handle it with people who can actually deal with it. So it's a bad situation all the way around. I'm sure there's going to be more developments with this. And if it happens and we hear from Sony or Naughty Dog, I will let you know. Stay tuned right here to this channel and to videogamesandnews.com for the latest happenings as it happens. That does it for me, the Red Dragon. I'll see you next time. Thanks for watching.
Are you listening? Damn. Yeah.